Hello, my name is Ginny Marshall, and I'm the CEO of DSI Work Solutions. And I'm pleased to welcome you to this next session in our series on job function-based testing. In the first session, we were focused on the opportunities of job function-based testing as they relate to injury prevention measures, both what helps employer and how the provider can serve in assisting employers with reducing injuries. In this second session, we are going to focus on opportunities that are related to managing injuries more efficiently, to getting employees back to work safely, and to reducing overall costs. It's important to remember that when testing is uniquely designed to the physical requirements of a job, and indeed can be recognized as such, then it can be applied across the continuum of hiring to separation of an employee from work with a particular employer. When we're talking about injury prevention, we're looking at anything related to hiring, to job transfer, and to looking at annual testing even. Measures that are taken in order to retain the health and safety of the workforce, to reduce the opportunity for injury or illness to occur that's job related. In the session that we're focused on now, sometimes things happen. They can be work related and therefore workers' compensation intervention, or disability related because the injury or illness occurred outside of the work environment or the work activities. In either way, as long as we are focused on what those job requirements are, we can come up with interventions that will reduce days away from work, restricted work, overall costs, and even save jobs for employees who are skilled and who would prefer to remain with their employer, if at all possible, after an injury or illness strikes. We're going to focus then on return to work testing, fit for duty testing, and also accommodation when disability strikes. So let's begin with return to work testing. The goal of return to work testing then is to assure that the individual indeed has and can demonstrate the physical and functional abilities necessary to perform the job safely. If the test is accurate to the job, this will occur. And this is very important for assuring not only the employee, but also the supervisor that certain functions or all functions can be performed safely. If individuals have sustained an injury or illness that requires them to attend rehab, such as physical therapy, then any deficits that are identified in testing can not only be used to communicate efficiently what the individual can do at work, but can also be used to establish treatment goals that will be focused on helping that individual be able to get back to their job without it being guesswork. For those providers who are helping employers with on-site injury prevention interventions, there's a huge opportunity here to guide individuals back to work using function-based testing as a springboard to do so. This enhances job coaching, which is also important to assuring that individuals have made that transition back to work safely. Fit for duty examinations is a second area that testing can be used. When there is a question related to the safe ability of an individual to perform their job, which may risk them or their coworkers, then function-based testing may be an important tool. As such, it assures that it is job performance that is being considered, not only from the physical perspective, but even mental performance can be observed within the safe environment of functional and physical abilities testing. The third area of opportunity, a more complex one to be sure, is in the area of providing reasonable accommodations to individuals with qualified disabilities. This can come up in the hiring process as well, but often when an employee sustains an injury or illness that has altered their physical abilities, this must be considered. Remember, employers are required to provide accommodations that are reasonable to individuals with disabilities. This is a very difficult area for everyone. In the absence of information that is objective and shows where an individual's ability to perform the job is aligning with their disability. By going through a function-based test, the areas that need focus can be readily identified, and then through the interactive process, the potential for accommodation in these focused areas can be discussed and even tested for. This documentation is important to assuring everyone that a reasonable and fair resolution was reached, whether accommodation was provided or the decision that there was no accommodation agreed upon. It is in this documentation that if questions arise, legal questions at a later date, there is proof of the employer's attempt and intent to accommodate an individual with a disability. With that having been said, what's important to note is that when this process is used, there is a much higher probability that a reasonable accommodation that allows an employee to perform the essential functions of their job will be identified. That concludes this second session on looking at the opportunities that job function-based testing brings, both to the employers who can benefit greatly from these types of services, to the providers who can benefit from these relationships with employers that bring new service opportunities to them. Tremendous impact is made with these types of services. We invite you to learn more about providing these types of services on our website, dsiworksolutions.net, where we offer coursework that teaches providers and educates employers about services such as job function-based testing. You can even try our first lessons without any obligation. Thank you for attending this session, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next session, where we're going to talk about important considerations with job function-based testing. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you.